Woo! It's go time. It's another episode of the Outlaw of College Football. That's me, JPC. And it looks like we got some people up in the house already in here. Eric Taco Marino's in the house. John Ritchie, Thunder OU Center, Jack Acker. Jack Acker and Eric Taco Marino, they have their badges as well as Big Coyotes Kelly, who, by the way, is going to be our guest tonight. He's an LSU fan. But I'll bring him in here in just a second. I'll let him introduce himself and let him tell us a little something about him. And then we'll get into it, and we'll talk about everything under the sun here when it relates to college football, mainly the college football playoffs that are coming up. I got a few scenarios that I saw Joe Klatt and Reese Davis were throwing out there. See if y'all agree with that. Dillon Gabriel passed married Caleb Williams' fingernails. As far as quarterback rating and just overall quarterback standing this year, according to an article that I found. Oklahoma fans will be happy about that, as well as possibly touch on a few of the conference title matchups, especially Alabama and Georgia, because that's a pretty epic matchup. That could affect a lot of things going forward, not just now, but in the future for Nick Saban and Alabama and a lot of other college football teams. The only right-wing Duck fans in the house as well is Mike Wilkerson and Rick Birdwell. Once again, they all have their badges. You'll see them in here with their badges. If you want to get your badge and get deputized like these guys, it's $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. You get your badge, you get deputized. You'll be the random. You get a random Four Horsemen shout-out, as well as possibly be the comment of the day. So let's get right to it here. Let's bring in a guest today. This is the LSU Coonass, is what his alias is going to be today. We'll let him get away with that, but I think he used to be called DJ Flavor back down there in the bayou of Louisiana. Tell us a little bit about yourself, brother.
All right. Well, born and raised in Louisiana, as you alluded to. There's a regular coon ass. No, we don't normally act like what they portray us on in Hollywood to act like. But we don't really talk like everybody else, but we don't really talk like they do in the Hollywood movies. So, some of us are educated, some of us are just plain, like a better word's crazy.
Yeah, I've run a few crazy ones out there, the LSU fans back in the day when we used to do our Facebook groups, and they used to call me the boogeyman, and we used to rail on people and smack talk them into oblivion, that kind of deal. Your girl Amy, we was talking about her off air. Maybe we can get her on one day and she can lose her shit again.
Yeah, man, that was funny. You got to play that.
I should have brought that clip in here today, the one that you got for me and clip for me.
Yeah.
But I was going to just bring in here and talk a little college football too. Let's see who else we got up in here. We got Boomer Sooner, Zach Hamner up in the house. All righty. So, college football playoff scenarios, man. I've never seen it this deep into the season where we have this many undefeated teams. They were talking about that on the Reese Davis show today, that normally you don't have 4 undefeated teams going into the last week of college football. Going forward, how do you see this thing playing out? Who's going to get there, man?
Well, I know you had talked about it last week, and I had made a comment that I pretty much seen it go on chalk. Mainly because of the playoff scenarios and everything going into next year, being that it's a 12-team playoff, they want a little bit more controversy, I feel. Therefore, if it runs more chalk, it'll give them that build up, something to talk about in the off season, going into the 24th season.
So if all 4 undefeated teams finish undefeated, will all 4 undefeated teams get in? Because there was some discussion that Florida State, because of the situation where quarterbacking. The committee said they take injuries to star players into account, but they've not really enacted that in the history of the 14 playoff yet. But this might be the opportunity to prove that they're not just bullshitting and leave Florida State out, because going forward without Jordan Travis, I'm not sure they're one of the best 4 teams. Are you?
No, I mean, without Jordan Travis, and as a LSU fan, I've seen what he is capable of doing firsthand. And now, don't get me wrong, those receivers are really, really good. And I just don't see it. I watched them play Florida, and it took them a while to get started. I mean, they only scored 24 points, on a piss poor Florida team that pretty much had checked out. I mean, so they will get in if Washington does beat Oregon. Now, if Oregon beats Washington, then they out. And if Alabama happens to beat Georgia, then there's no chance Florida makes it even with a win.
Let's say Oregon beats Washington, and they are actually favored by 9 points. That's a lot of points for a team considering Washington's undefeated. But Washington has looked like shit the last month or so. So if Oregon beats Washington, and Oregon still has one loss, and Florida State beats Louisville, Joe Clapp was saying that he would jump Oregon over Florida State, even though they had a loss and Florida State was undefeated. Would you do that? Would you bring Oregon into the top 4?
I would only bring Oregon in if they beat obviously if they beat Washington, or another upset happens above them. That I wouldn't deny an undefeated team, regardless of a loss of a quarterback of that caliber or not, because of what they did all season. Now, yes, will the committee hold that injury against them? Maybe. But if you look back to 2014 with Ohio State, they were down to their technically third string quarterback, and they went ahead and won the national championship in the inaugural season of the college football playoff. So
yeah, you'd bring that up, wouldn't you?
Look. We are talking sports, so I mean, hey.
That's right. That's right. They beat Alabama. Go ahead and say it.
I wasn't gonna say it, but you don't want to vote an answer. Yeah. They did beat Alabama, and a very good Alabama team at that. Beat
us with a third string quarterback. And then he went pro the next year and just fizzled out. I ain't heard from that guy since. Where's he at?
That's the thing. You don't really hear of any Ohio State quarterbacks too much after their first 3 or 4 years in the NFL. Justin Fields is about the only one that has kind of sustained it somewhat, but not really that much. I mean, and of course he's been hurt a lot,
The only right-wing Duck fan says if FSU gets in, they're going to get blown out by the other 3. It's going to be TCU all over again.
And that may very well happen. I mean, like I said, I was not impressed with the way FSU played against Florida at all. So if the committee decides to keep them out, and they are undefeated, I'm like that. That's almost like back in the day whenever Auburn went undefeated and they were left out of the BCS. I forget what year that was. But anyway, we talk about 4 undefeated teams ranked in the top 4 right now. At talk holes, I think FSU should be in. Now, I don't foresee Washington beating Oregon for a second time. It's hard to beat. It's hard to beat a good team once, much less twice.
Yeah, and some people actually think Louisville's going to take care of that for us, and Louisville's actually going to win that game. Now they did lose to Kentucky, but that don't mean anything. People try to do comparative scores all the time and don't mean shit. Because I mean, look, New Mexico State beat Auburn by 21 points at Auburn, and then they turn around and almost beat us. We had to have a Hail Mary pass to beat Auburn. So you can't really compare scores from last week in your assessment of how teams are going to show up the next following week.
Right. And then in rivalry games, you can throw the records out the window 9 out of 10 times.
That's right. And I mean, it wasn't like Kentucky wasn't a decent team, and they are going to go to a bowl game this year. They're 7-5, I think, what they finished. But if Florida State loses, that would definitely help my team, Alabama, out if they were to beat Georgia. If Alabama beats Georgia, you think Alabama's going to get in if they beat Georgia, or do you think they'll leave out the SEC completely if everybody else wins other than Georgia?
Okay, so you're saying if Washington beats Oregon and FSU wins, they
let's say Michigan wins, Washington wins, and FSU wins, and Georgia's the only undefeated team that loses. There's going to be one spot there for somebody. Is it going to be Alabama, or is it going to be Oregon, or is it going to be Texas? Because Texas beat Alabama head to head. But if they put Texas in, guess what? That leaves the SEC completely out, and that's never happened in the 14 playoff. The SEC never been left completely out.
Now another thing, does Georgia fall past 4?
Right. I mean, could you put Georgia in there after Alabama just beat them? That'd be sort of hard, wouldn't it? And leave Alabama out after Alabama just won.
TCU lost their conference game last year, and then they're not moving off.
I know, right?
So, who's to say Georgia wouldn't drop from 1 to 4, and you get a Michigan, let's say, a Michigan and Georgia a semi, and your SEC actual champion will get let down in that scenario.
Now that would be awful if the SEC got completely left out, huh?
it would if both teams do not make it, because I always did look at, especially in the college football playoff era, I always looked at the SEC championship game as like the quarterfinal game.
If y'all don't mind, if y'all could just slip out of the chat and smash the like button, it helps push the algorithm and more people will get up in here. Right now, we're up to 31 people. So we're elevating the numbers a little bit pretty good tonight. So we'll probably be up to 50 or 60 before long. And hopefully get up over 100 before it's over with. Usually we average around 70 or 80 people in here, but we have been up as high as 150 people in here at a time. So y'all just smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please hit subscribe. And then there's a bell next to that. Hit that. Because if you don't hit the bell too, it won't notify you when we're up and on the air. Kane Reed's in the house. He said, "What's up, Outlaw? I got 5 on it." He's in the house. JD Wilmoff says, "I need to get Kuz back in here. That was an entertaining show. I'm sure I can get under his skin again." Did you see that show where Kuz lost his shit?
I think I came in after everything because everybody was apologizing afterwards.
Y'all could try to do that to Ryan Thibodeau here. But he's got pretty thick skin. Me and him's had some wars in some chat rooms and on Facebook groups and whatnot. So I don't think y'all be able to get him rattled.
No, hey, look, hey, if I can be friends with a Bama fan, and a Bama fan can be friends with me, then hey, it's just the way it is. But you were talking about that earlier, a couple shows ago. I had made the comment that we got some SEC newcomers that may be in for a rude awakening, and it's no disrespect to those teams, but we have that camaraderie between all of us. It's like a love-hate relationship. You know, we love to hate each other, but we hate to love each other at the same time.
Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship, man. It's a good, healthy thing, except when it comes to Tennessee Volunteers and Phil Fulmer, who tried to deep six my program. They're a little bit over the kilter with that shit. I hate Tennessee, by the way. I hate them more than I do Auburn. Kittle Breeze had a nice little typo here. Instead of poor cuz, he says poot cuz. So you basically you're saying to take a shit on cuz? Is that what you're telling us, Kittle Breeze? Yeah, that's right. I'm steering the pot. I sure as hell am. Poot cuz. I'm gonna make sure I screenshot that shit. I'm gonna send it to cuz, and you're gonna be in trouble. Look at that. That's what he said to that. I can't say that out loud, but yeah. He got spell check got him. Spell check is a bastard. Whoever invented spell check need to be slapped. And it'll spell check you when you don't want it to. And
exactly.
When you need it to spell check you, like it did right there for poot instead of poor, it don't. It'll spell check me on the word if and put the word in or of.
I can't stand that, bro. I cannot.
Make me feel like a damn spastic.
I noticed that at least on my end, my Facebook has a predictive text where it'll type out like 3 or 4 words, and I'm like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. It takes me an hour just to type two sentences, and then I gotta go back and edit it because, like you said, I get the if instead of a of, or of instead of a if. It's like, dang, it's aggravating.
It's whoever's behind that, they need their ass whooped.
And I don't know who has an Android phone, but on Facebook, I do too. But man, I think I got it back, but the back button wasn't working for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. I thought it was my phone at first, and then I started seeing memes about it. I was like, man,
that's bullshit. Thunder OU Sooner has a comment. If Bama beats Georgia and Texas beats Oklahoma, Texas needs to get in over Georgia because of Georgia's weak schedule. In Texas, beat Bama in their own stadium. I absolutely agree with that. I'm an Alabama fan, but head-to-head needs to mean something. Now, I know it was early in the season. A lot of people make the argument that Alabama's the better team now, but we don't know that, do we? I mean, Alabama, unless they play Texas, we don't know that. I mean, Alabama didn't look like the better team last Saturday. We looked like shit against Auburn. So, Texas, to me, should probably be in over Georgia, but it's going to be a hard ask considering they're two-time defending national champions. And they'd won 29 in a row to that point if Alabama beats them. So Texas would have beaten the team that beat Georgia in that scenario. So in my opinion, yes, Texas would deserve to be in, but the committee is a different story. It ain't up to me and Ryan. It's up to that retarded committee, right?
Exactly. I mean, I didn't want to say that word earlier, but yeah, I mean, whenever I was introducing myself, yeah, I mean, they do some baffling things. That's why I wish the committee was filled with more former players and former ADs that actually knew football, knew what was going on.
You're never gonna get an unbiased committee, no matter who you put in there, because it's a human element. What they need to do is go back to the BCS formula, because the BCS formula got it right most of the time. Everybody had a knee-jerk reaction because Alabama and LSU made the final that 1 year in a rematch.
Yeah, in 2011.
And it got them all tizzied up. Now they've won 4 teams. And all they did was give 2 more spots for the SEC to get in every year, and that's
Right.
happening. So
And
they need to go back to the BCS formula and let it decide the top 4 and now the top 12 going forward, in my opinion.
Or at least have the BCS type of computer to go along with the committee, to where you have a little bit more of a check and balance. But to get back to the
yeah, you can do a combination of both. You can take the BCS formula and then have a committee too, and have them both make a decision together.
Yeah, I mean, you had to have a check and balance somewhere. I mean, we went from a computer system to a committee that they don't know football. They don't know the ins and outs and whatnot. Now I agree. You do have to have a head-to-head matchup, and certain schedule has to matter. And to calculate certain schedule, you're gonna have the computer to do that. Because everybody's gonna be biased in some kind of way. If me and you get in there, we're gonna be biased to our own teams or our own conference.
And we can say all we want that we won't be biased, but it's human nature, man, to have a little bias
Right.
and everything.
Right.
So, and I know that you can't go strictly with the computers either, because sometimes they don't see nuances that a human being would see. So you can get some way of combining the BCS formula with a committee. I think that would work out better. But you're never going to be able to satisfy everybody, man. Even when we get this 12-team playoff, you watch, there'll be the 13th and 14th team out there that says, hey, we should have been in.
So, right. Like for instance, LSU's ranked number 13 right now. Okay. They would be technically the last team out, So I mean, I haven't been paying attention to the rankings, because I don't really pay attention to them anyway, other than the top 10. Wow. So it's like you can make an argument that 13, 14 team could be or could beat the top 10 team or the top 11 team, in any given year. So I think them going, I said it from day one, whenever they went to the 14 playoff, they should have went to 8 and stayed at 8 and called it a day.
That's right. Because 12 teams, I think they're doing that so they can allow a G5 school to get in there. Right. A lot easier for a G5 school to have access, and they can get blown out in the first round like they usually do. Now, I know Boise State upset Oklahoma a while back, and you'll see these upsets in these New Year's Six Bowls. But that's because usually a lot of these blue blood teams like Oklahoma, LSU, Alabama, when they don't get the national title game, sometimes they just check out and they don't show up.
Yeah, they pack it up.
It's just like when Auburn got beat by Central Florida that year. Auburn, a lot of their players sit in that game. And Central Florida tried to claim national championship down there with their little Mickey Mouse trophy down there in Orlando. But we all know that if Auburn had all their players, they would have beat the shit out of Central Florida, more than likely.
Correct.
Chris Lieberman says they should have semifinal games this year, at least go to more teams next year. I guess he's sort of agreeing with you that they should have went ahead and went to 8 teams this year, because it would have worked out great this year. A lot of people were saying that you get blowouts sometimes with a 14 playoff. What do you think is going to happen with 12 teams? You're going to get more blowouts. But I disagree with that. I think that, sometimes teams slip up into the top 4 that don't belong there, and then other teams that deserve a shot don't get a shot. So I think that the playoff expanding was a good thing. I'm like you. I would rather seen 8. But this is a good thing, because what they're going to do is they're going to take the top 4 teams and give them a bye. And then the bottom 8's going to play a first round, they said, on campus, which I like that idea, man. That'd be awesome to see. Like for you, for example, you'd get to see maybe Michigan come down to Tiger Stadium to play LSU in the first round or something like that. Or Alabama versus Michigan in the big house in Michigan. Things like that. And in the second round, I think once you get down to 8 teams, you still have a campus game for the top 4. and once you get down to 4, that's when they go to neutral sites.
Right, for the New Year's Six bowls. I was a I was a proponent of incorporating conference championship games as like a first round playoff game, you know, type deal. Also, I don't know how you will work it in. You could work it in more like this year, where your Power Five conferences have or mainly rate in the top 10.
Yeah, I'm thinking, how is that going to be fair to teams like Alabama and Georgia going into the 12-team playoff, where someone like, maybe your team, LSU or Tennessee, is like the 11th or 12th team, and they get to just set out that week and not get banged up, like the SEC teams are going to get banged up and then have to go into a first-round playoff game and play an extra game. They might have to do away with those conference championship games if they're going to have 12-team playoff.
Right. It's like you gotta make those conference championships mean something. Unless you just award, like, kind of do what you do in basketball and baseball, and do a regular season a conference champion.
I'm gonna bring something up for the Oklahoma Sooner fans real quick. We got a lot of Oklahoma Sooners up in here. They might like this. I saw this earlier today. Y'all see that? Says here that Dillon Gabriel finishes ahead of Caleb Williams in Bleacher Report quarterback rankings. After all that ballyhooing in the offseason, all this crap that Lincoln Riley's been talking, and Colin Coward have been talking about Oklahoma and how you can't recruit to Oklahoma and all this bullshit, they can't even beat Dillon Gabriel, a transfer from Central Florida. I mean, you would think with the defending Heisman Trophy candidate, they would have at least been able to win more than 7 games this year, you think? I mean, you're an outsider looking in. I mean, I'm a little biased in this probably because I have a war going on with the USC Skittle Shitters. But from an outsider looking in, what is your take on the whole USC and Oklahoma thing that's been percolating for the last 2 years?
Well, it's kind of almost in a way reminiscent of whenever Saban went to Alabama. Of course, he went to Miami in the NFL first. But that's kind of reminiscent of it. But you have the NIL and the transfer portal to continue with. I'm so glad that LSU did not get Lincoln in the first place.
Yeah, now, we were talking for him going to LSU at first, right?
Right. The smoke was that Lincoln was coming to Baton Rouge, and come to find out, it was just a big smoke screen because he was going to USC. In fact, to my recollection, Lincoln wasn't even contacted by LSU. So he was already out the door that last year at Oklahoma, in my opinion. Now, as getting back to Mary Kay Williams,
that's right. You got it right.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, he is a great quarterback. Okay.
Speaking of Mary Caleb Williams, how you like my little icon in the right hand corner right there?
Yeah, I see that.
Go ahead with your thought, man. Go ahead.
So, he doesn't have. Had he stayed at Oklahoma, he would have been better than Dillon Gabriel.
Yeah,
with his team.
He would have been a lot better off. He probably had a shot at national championship. It ended up screwing him and Oklahoma. He screwed himself and Oklahoma by high talent Lincoln. I mean, but if you're him and his dad, you got to really think to yourself that, you know, they were probably thinking Brent Venables is a defensive-minded guy, and they're trying to get to the NFL, and Lincoln Riley probably gave them the best chance for that, in their opinion.
Correct. Because I mean, Lincoln has put Heisman winners in the NFL, you know. So I'm like Lincoln in general. As you say, as we say down here in Louisiana, pom on, which means not good. So, I think that Caleb did what was best for Caleb. Lincoln did what was best for Lincoln, and both Oklahoma and USC got to roll in that deal. Now, Oklahoma was smart enough to go and get a defensive coach or defensive-minded coach and Brent Venables to come in and get that program ready for the SEC. Because they're going to need a strong defense, not what Lincoln had at Oklahoma with Alex Grinch.
Well, here's the thing, man. He's out recruited. He's out recruited Lincoln Riley all 3 years. Even the year he come in with all the turmoil and everybody exiting out through the transfer portal, he out recruited them all 3 years. So,
right.
And if all the full crowd about a defensive coach can't coach football, I mean, Nick Saban and Kirby Smart are both defensive-minded coaches. And they're winning national championships at an amazing click.
Well, the old cliche is defense wins championships and offense puts fans in the seats.
That's right. You got to have a little bit of both, though, right?
Right.
I'm not saying you got to have a shutdown defense like, you know, Alabama and LSU used to have back in the early 2000 teens. But I'm saying if you can hold a team to 24 points, if USC held everybody to 24 points, which ain't asking a lot, they'd win every single game they played. Every single game.
Especially in the conference that they play in. Now this year is a lot stronger than it has been, you know, but at the same time, I feel like had they had, like you said, even a mediocre defense, and I'm gonna stray off of that and go to LSU with our offense this year. Had LSU had a mediocre defense this year, and I'm talking about not a top 50, but like a 60, 65 ranked defense, we may only have one loss right now.
That's right. LSU would have probably been like the LSU under Ed Orgeron, you know, where they had what was his name? Who was the quarterback for y'all's national championship team? Joey
B.
Yeah, Joe Burrow and them. They had just enough defense to do what they needed to do. That's exactly what Lincoln Riley needed, but he just don't want to adhere to that. I got something else I want to bring up too, sort of just to take a little jab at some of the people that wanted to run off Jeff Lebby, and I'm going to bring in a Sooner guy so he can give us his biased take on this and tell us exactly what he thinks about all this mess. We're going to bring him in right now. It's Mike Wilkerson in the house.
What's going on, Aldo?
All right, brother.
Hey, I was going to tell you, Louisiana guest, I have Louisiana ties. My mom is originally from Chauvin, Louisiana.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Down the bayou.
Yeah, she's a bayou, or was. She's already passed on.
Got something going on. You got something going on with the audio, Mike.
Oh, do
it?
Yeah. I don't know what the hell. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's just a little noise.
I don't know what. I don't know.
Let me turn. Something going on. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it was.
What's that?
It sounds like it's got a little buzz in there, like a little flea or something.
How's it? I'm trying. I can.
We'll bring him back later. Let him get his audio fixed. I think something's wrong. He's having a little technical difficulties. We'll bring him back in here a little bit later. But I'm going to go ahead and bring this up real quick. You see that? You see that?
You got to read it to me.
Yeah, a little small, ain't it?
Yeah.
My bad. Basically what this is Dillon Gabriel's offense, his numbers. Gabriel set career highs in completion percentage of 69.3%, passing yards of 3,660 yards, per attempt 9.5 yards, rushing touchdowns 12 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 172 while throwing for 30 touchdowns, the second highest total in his career. This season, Gabriel has had 7 games with more than 300 yards passing. So the reason why I bring that up is because I've had a little tick for tack with some of the Oklahoma fans, not all of them. I'd say about 40% of them have been saying that they were happy that Jeff Lebby was gone because Jeff Lebby, see if Mike's back down there. They're saying that Jeff Lebby was the reason. They were saying that Jeff Lebby was the reason why that Oklahoma was losing the games that they lost. But from these numbers right here, it looks like that Jeff Lebby done a pretty good job of coaching Dillon Gabriel from these numbers right here in this article. I mean, what do you think Oklahoma's deal was? Do you think it was all Jeff Lebby, or do you think there was something else going on with Oklahoma this year?
Well, I mean, I hadn't followed Oklahoma throughout the year, but I do know what Jeff Lebby brings as an offensive mind, and I think it has a combination to do with a lot of other things. They're correct me if I'm wrong, Oklahoma fans, but the offensive line hasn't really been all that good the last couple of years. They'll have some players, but correct me if I'm wrong. Were they a little bit injured?
Yeah, they've had some injuries this year. I was trying to tell them, you giving the offense a hard time, but the offense is scoring over 40-something points a game. Defense has been giving up points, whether they want to admit it or not. They have been giving up a lot of points. Now, I know they had some injuries in the past couple of games that they give up those points, but early in the season, they give up 30 to Texas, and they didn't have any injuries in that game. All I'm saying, I'm not blaming the defense either, by the way. I'm just saying that I don't think it's fair to try to say all of it's Jeff Lebby's fault.
Right. I don't think it is either. Because, I mean, if you're scoring 40 points a game, you should be winning 90% of your games guaranteed. I seen that comment earlier.
I just saw it. I was going to bring it up for you, let you respond to it. A little smack talk going on. He want to know about Brian Kelly's weird dancing. Did you teach him how to dance like that?
Look. If it brings the recruits in and it gets them committed, he can do a jig. He can do the gritty. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, he looked a little funny up there, man, bumping and grinding on them players. I ain't gonna lie. It was a little crazy. I'm like, where's DJ Flavor? Where's DJ Flavor at when you need him? You need to show him how to dance, man.
Well, I don't dance. That's why I'm a DJ. I don't dance and I don't sing. So I just play the music and let everybody else dance. That's the thing. Now the quarterback or the player that BK was filmed doing that was Walker Howard. Walker Howard was came out of high school about 15 minutes away from where I'm at by Lafayette. His dad played at LSU. So, and earlier in his recruitment, he had went to Notre Dame on a recruiting visit whenever BK was still at Notre Dame. So that's where that history comes in. Now, Walker Howard, ironically, transferred out and went to Ole Miss this past year. Now, I want to know what lane sold them two transfer quarterbacks on. Because it sure wasn't playing time. Because Walker Howard was third string last year over here, and he was third string this year at Ole Miss.
Yep. I'm gonna bring Mike back in here real quick.
All right.
We can get a Sooners thought on these matters. There, Mike.
Am I there?
Yeah, I hear you.
Am I buzzing?
No, you're not buzzing like you was a while ago.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see that or not, but I brought up some stats that, a lot of these Oklahoma fans that are saying that Jeff Lebby was at fault. Let me read them to you again. I don't know if you heard them. It says Gabriel set career highs in completion percentage, 69.3%, passing yards, 3,660 yards per attempt, 9.5, rushing touchdowns, 12. That was his second highest total in his career with the 30 thrown touchdowns. So my question is, with all these stats and the way it's looking, it looks to me like that Jeff Lebby done a pretty good job of coaching Dillon Gabriel.
Oh yeah, Outlaw. You remember the last time I was on your show that I was pretty hard on Lebby, and I redacted because, as you say, numbers don't lie. And we was the third-ranked offense in the nation. I think what I was upset about was all them damn jet sweeps he called in the Kansas game.
Yeah,
and
Alabama calls a few of those, but lots of times they use that jet sweep to set up the play, the next play.
Right.
After. They're not really trying to get a big game out. They're trying to set up for another play usually. But
like I said, I mean, all in all, I wasn't on the. I got off the Lebby hate train. As a matter of fact, if I remember right, I told you, excuse me, that I would like to have seen Lebby with Jackson Arnold in the system next year.
I think it would have been a pretty nice thing to see, to be honest with you. I think when I took the Mississippi State job, I think he could have probably got a better job if he'd stayed a little while longer. I think he took the Mississippi State job because he's hearing a lot of crap, and his family was having to hear a lot of that crap. I think it pissed him off a bit, and I think he took the first job he could get and get the hell out of there.
Well, I was listening to our local sports talk today, and which I do every day. He was going to get that job regardless. But you're right. I mean, with all the smoke out there about Art Briles being at the SMU game, I think his wife had a lot to do with it, in my opinion. Now, that's just an opinion. That ain't. But other than that, I mean, and another reason he went to Mississippi State, look who's their athletic director. Zach Selman, Oklahoma ties.
That's right. Well, Johnny Johns makes a comment here. He says, most OU fans blame Lebby because he didn't score on 6 straight drives and our defense ran out of gas and finally gave up the lead. But yes, Lebby's offense did a great job overall in the season. Yeah, I could see that being a little aggravating. Maybe, in the clutch times, maybe Lebby doesn't do what he needs to do to just put the foot on the throat kind of deal. And maybe that's the angst that Oklahoma fans are really having with Jeff Lebby. But I will say this, the Oklahoma State game I'll give y'all. Y'all should have won that game. There was some horrific officiating. But the Kansas game, I think Kansas beat y'all straight up because Kansas got some bad calls too in that game.
Yeah, it is what it is, Outlaw.
Y'all got to beat them 25 years in a row.
I know. But like I said, at the end of the day, and to your other guest, we was pretty banged up. We had Tyler Guyton, our big O lineman. He's been dealing with some injuries, and we had, but Jacob Sexton and Caden Green and them guys stepped up, and but all in all, I kind of wish Lebby would have hung in there for another year, really and truly. And Because I tell you right now, Outlaw, I went and watched one of your previous episodes, and I tell you what I'm more concerned with than anything, and that's defense.
Defense looks a little ragged here lately. I know they've had a lot of injuries, but you need to develop that depth so you don't have that issue.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all got the depth. Do y'all have good depth yet? I mean, or is it still a process?
I think it's still a process, and if you haven't noticed in the past 24 hours, the portal has been blowing up. And I look for Oklahoma to go into the portal again. But now, with that being said, on our defense, if you look at what BV recruited this year, I mean, it's pretty damn salty. You know, you got David Stone, Nigel Smith out of Texas, David Stone's buddy, Jaden Jackson, Danny Okoye out of Tulsa, which he plays for a homeschool high school team. So, I mean, and we got some pretty sharp, from what I've seen, we've got some pretty good secondary and linebackers in the core. As far as secondary, who I'm really going to be looking at next year is Deshaun McCullough's little brother, Dave McCullough. And but
sort of off the subject a little bit, but not really. Ryan Thibodeau here brought up an interesting little article for me. I might let you tell about that, Ryan. It's seems like Oklahoma may have a new season-ending rival next year, starting in 2024. Who is that, Ryan?
All right. Well, one of the radio hosts from the local ESPN radio station, he was going through some scenarios and on the upcoming schedule for 2024, because not everything is set in stone yet. And he went through everything, because there were some games that were leaked with confirmed dates earlier this week in the SEC. And we know for a fact that LSU and Oklahoma is playing in 24 in Baton Rouge. So his scenario was if Arkansas continues to play Missouri after the weekend after Thanksgiving, says we were playing A&M, that A&M is playing Texas, confirmed. They put out the date on that. And of course, all the other like the Iron Bowl is always played there, that Oklahoma and LSU could play the day after or the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Next year, we don't know if it's going to be a permanent thing or not. I don't foresee it being a permanent thing, but considering Oklahoma and Oklahoma State are not going to be playing for the foreseeable future, it's a possibility.
I think that'd be a great Thanksgiving rivalry. Oklahoma and LSU, man, that'd be some good shit right there.
That really would. That would be an awesome rivalry. Because I tell you what Thanksgiving rivalry I miss here in Oklahoma, and that's the old OU Nebraska from the old Big 8 days.
I remember that.
And it would, I would really like a rivalry with LSU.
Yeah, Nebraska really didn't do themselves any favors, because everybody was talking about Oklahoma's going to be the next Nebraska, but Oklahoma didn't leave their recruiting base, and they took their main rival with them to the SEC in Texas. Nebraska just up and left and went to the Big Ten with no recruiting base. They have no recruiting base in Ohio or Pennsylvania or Michigan, and their families, most of their recruits were coming from Texas. They don't want to travel all the way to Ohio to watch a damn football game.
No.
That's why Nebraska, Nebraska's already out in the middle of nowhere anyway. Nobody wants to go and play and freeze their nuts off if they ain't got to.
I know. My dad and I, we took a trip to the famous hook and lateral game between OU and Nebraska in '76 at Lincoln. And let me tell you something. You're right. It gets butt cold up there. And all you see is cornfields, and it's out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I heard they had some pretty crappy weather. Killer Breeze makes a point. By the way, he's a coon ass just like you, Ryan. He just don't tell us too much about it. He went to Oklahoma for a little while, and then he graduated from LSU. So he probably liked that rivalry at the end of the year. He might be a little conflicted, though. But Killer Breeze says, unfortunately, Lebby's connection to Art Briles has more priority with him than his connection to OU. You agree with that statement? I
sure do.
You think the Art Briles thing really irked him a lot more than what people think?
I think yes. I mean, think about it, Jesse. I mean, that's his father-in-law. That's his wife's daddy. And you know what happens when you mess with a woman's daddy, and the claws come out. So well, yeah,
I can't really take up for Lebby on that, because I think, and I've disagreed with Killer about this, but if he made an agreement before he came to be employed by Oklahoma that he wouldn't bring him out there, then he shouldn't have brought him out there. And Art Briles shouldn't have been there. Art Briles shouldn't even been at the game. He should just waited till after the game and got together at a restaurant or something. To me, all that to me is Art Briles' fault for just being selfish, in my opinion.
That and that little weasel Parker Thune taking a picture and posting it all over Twitter.
Parker Thune just trying to do his job, man.
Oh, he's there's more to Parker Thune than just that Art Briles deal. He's a little weasel.
It sounds like I need to have Parker Thune on here. See what he's got to say about it. I'm going to contact him and say, man, they're grilling the hell out of your ass. They're about to run your ass. They're going to run your ass. You better get on this show and apologize.
Because I tell you what, if LSU and Oklahoma ever become a rivalry and we do a home and home, you can bet your sweet butt I'm going to be there because I have family ties in Louisiana. And, oh, yeah, I'd be there.
I think Johnny Fairlane likes your nickname for Parker Thune. He said Weasel and he's laughing his ass off.
Well, I tell you what, Mike, if the Oklahoma LSU thing becomes a permanent thing, you could bet your butt that whenever y'all come to Baton Rouge, y'all gonna get fed.
I know it.
Now you might get your butt beat, but you're gonna get fed.
Yeah, we'll get our butts kicked, but we're gonna be fed good.
That's the damn truth there. I went down there to the Shreveport Independence Bowl back when Alabama sucked and LSU was in the midst of their national championship runs, and I figured they'd give me hell. There was a lot of LSU people down there tailgating outside the Independence Bowl, and they give us a ticket to a tent where you could eat all you wanted and drink all the booze you wanted, as long as you had a ticket to get in. And that ticket had to cost them a good penny, probably $100. And they just fed us, like he said, and fed us and fed us and fed us, and give us booze and booze and booze, man. I was fit to be tied, man. When we got to the game against Colorado, I didn't give a shit if we won or lost, man.
Hey, I'll tell you what. JPC, I've been telling you to get your butt down here. Now next year, check this out. LSU plays. I think you know where I'm going with this. Okay, to start the season, LSU plays you at the Skittle Centers of USC in Vegas.
Hell yeah.
Hey, guess what? Oklahoma fans, guess what? We taking y'all with us because we're gonna have Tebow that we could have more than just another defensive coordinator.
They even got Skittle Shitter Jr. coming to town the next following week. Y'all got UCLA coming to Baton Rouge.
Yeah, in 2 weeks. I think I want to say it's 2 weeks after that because it's around my birthday.
I need to come down there for the UCLA game.
Now look, we lost against UCLA back in 21, I think it was. That first game, but hey, UCLA isn't a bad team. Chip Kelly, I don't know how he got put on the hot seat, but he's a damn good coach. And I tell you what, they ran us up and down the field that day.
Well, I got emasculated one time by O'Ryan here. I was at the buffet bar. I don't know if you remember this story, Ryan. I'm gonna let you finish if you remember it. I took a picture of some crawfish at the buffet bar, and you remember what you said to Ryan about them crawfish that I took a picture of?
That was some babies that we put that on a hook and catch bass with those.
Nobody know what real crawfish eating was.
Right. If you was a crawfish, brother, bring yourself down here to Southwest Louisiana. Look. I'm within an orange throw of crawfish ponds, and look, they just starting to flood them. And it hasn't gotten that cold yet. But after January, mainly in February and March and April, rainy happy, but back down here, around the Easter time, and I guarantee you will get some miniature lobsters. Easy.
Yeah, man, when I eat my pig, it's like it just makes me mad when I eat my pig. It's like a little piece of meat like that right there.
Well, that's what she said too.
What are you trying to say?
It sounds like when I come up.
Man, I'm getting old, man. I have to hit the Viagra every once in a while, man. Why you going to now he's emasculating me again, man. Talking about the size of my wee-wee.
Hey, look. JPC tosses it up, and I just hit it out the fork every time.
That was a softball right there. It's just like clank. He took time to point the stand like Babe Ruth and shit.
No, when I was driving the truck, I used to haul product out of Louisiana down around south of New Iberia, down a little town called Glencoe. They got a carbon black plant down there, and I was hauling that stuff out of there to Lawton, Oklahoma, at the Goodyear tire plant. And buddy, I would make sure that my logbook reset during crawfish season, where I had 34 hours to eat all the crawfish I wanted to, because there's a little grocery store. And brother, you're right, they lobsters.
Golly, man. Y'all making my mouth water over here.
Hey, look, it ain't just about the crawfish down here in JBC. Look, I made a little chicken fricassee last night.
Oh boy.
But look, I had my 80-year-old mama come get her a bowl, and my 60-year-old brother come get him a bowl, and they called me today, and they ate everything. Look, I'm like, you want food? I'll feed you.
Hey brother, I got a request if I ever come down and holler at you.
That's right.
All right.
Can you whoop up some alligator sauce pecan?
If you give me the alligator, I'll whip it up.
All right, brother.
Yeah. Now, T Boomer might have you a little bit of good news. T Boomer has his badge, by the way. He's deputized. He's an outlaw posse as well. He says, I watched Stutz' podcast, and it sounds like Danny Stutzman's coming back next year. He's not.
Yeah, I watched it, and yeah, it sounds like sounds like him, and like Fred Bagley says here, it looks like Bowman and Stutz are coming back.
Fred Bagley has his badge as well. He's in the outlaw posse. Like you said, he says he heard Stutzman and Bowman are both coming back. So that'll be good forward. If that happens, That'll help y'all out in the SEC immensely.
That will, because I mean, Bowman's been our spark plug in that secondary.
I'll answer T Boomer's next comment.
Look at it. Johnny Fairlane wants to know about that. What did he say? The alligator shit?
Rougarou.
That's a Cajun Bigfoot.
You don't want the Rougarou to come around now.
No, that's worse than the boogeyman.
Yeah.
No offense, APC, but that's worse than you.
We're having some noise on your end there, Mike.
Okay. Well, I'm going to jump off anyway, brother. And my phone needs to be put on live support. I don't know your name up there in the right-hand corner, but my name's Mike Wilkerson.
That's Ryan
Yeah.
He's
Ryan.
DJ Flavor Flav. He used to be a DJ back in the day, and he also likes to call himself the
Well,
hey,
I thought it fit the theme of everything. So But nice talking to you, Mike. Have a good one.
You too, brother. Jesse, you take care, brother.
All right, brother. Roll Tide, Boomer Suitor.
But Roll Tide, Boomer Suitor, and go Tigers.
That's right. Go Tigers all day.
Take care, guys.
Me and Orgeron say, go Tigers.
Y'all be good now.
All right, brother. That was Mike. I know Mike's been having trouble with his audio. He's had a couple of times. He was doing good there for a little bit, and then it started clicking out on him again. It's hard to get this shit right on here when you go live.
Yeah, you're on the fly. Let's see. T Boober had a question. I don't know if he can pull it up or not. He had asked who's going to be LSU's quarterback next year.
All right, there it is. Who is it going to be?
All right. Well, next in line right now is Gary Nussmeier. Word on the street is, and we kind of knew this going like midway through the season, we're gonna need another quarterback because we have Garrett that has never started a game. He's a redshirt sophomore. So technically a junior because he's been with the program 3 years. He played for 3 quarters, well, about 3.5 quarters against Arkansas 2 years ago, whenever he was a freshman, and then he played against Georgia in the SEC championship game last year in the second half. Didn't do bad. Now he's had some mop-up duty games here and there. Nothing that I can really say which way or another. I'm looking for him to start. I'm looking for them to pull a transfer quarterback out of the portal. Like somebody that's a sophomore or junior that can come in and be a quality backup. Like I was alluding to earlier, I know where Lane told Walker Howard and I forget the other quarterback from OK State to come in and be a backup. Because I want somebody like that to be my backup. And then we have a freshman a quarterback in Ricky Collins out of Woodlawn in Baton Rouge. He made it to the Elite 11. He's not doing bad, but he don't have any experience. He may have roughly two quarters of experience underneath his belt. So I don't even know if Jane Daniels plays in a bowl game.
He might not. Now, Bryce Young and them surprised me last year when Bryce Young and what's his name, the defensive player, slips my mind. But yeah, they actually played in the bowl game against Kansas State.
Yeah, that shocked me too.
1989 M had a question. He says, I see Ugas opening as a 6.5 point favorite against Crimson Tide. Keys to the game for me is I don't think Carson Beck has really played a great defense this year. They played a decent defense in Auburn, and they almost lost. If we could get Carson to throw a pick or two, I think that might be a good key to start with, get him a little rattled. He hasn't never been in a championship game scenario. And Reese Davis pointed something out today that I wasn't aware of. Georgia still has yet to beat Alabama in an SEC championship game under Kirby Smart in Atlanta. Now, they did beat them in Atlanta in the national title game, but they've never beat them in the SEC title game yet. Because you remember, Alabama won the SEC title, then there was a rematch with Georgia, and Georgia won. So that, and I think they really need to stick to what they've been doing by letting Jalen Milroe actually run the ball a little more. You know, the RPO thing that he's got going on, they've sort of opened that up for him a little more, and I think they just need to continue to let him run the ball more. What's your keys to the game?
Well, kind of similar to yours. If Alabama is going to win, then yes, they do have to continue letting Milroe run the RPO. And they're gonna have to be able to. The offensive line is gonna have to hold up to Georgia's defensive front. We know what Georgia can do up front on the defensive line, and can they hold up? The last few weeks, well, ever since the LSU Alabama game, Alabama has been rolling. So I don't put it past Alabama to be not to be able to beat Georgia. It's can they execute it at that level in that game. This has got to be one of the best coaching jobs that Nick Saban has done in his whole career.
Yeah. How is it that Nick Saban won all these national championships? He's only won one coaching award. I don't get it. He's won one. What is it? One Bear Bryant award. That's it. Is the coach of the year?
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess they'd take a look at the talent that he has, and this is probably one of the least talented Alabama teams. If he since he got there in 2007, you know, for sure since 2010, you know, I mean he's breaking in different players. I mean the defense has been astounding. You know, throughout the whole, they've been the consistent throughout the whole year. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I mean, yeah, I mean, Nick has had the benefit of, you know, plugging. He loses a 4 or 5 star to the NFL. He plugs another one in. One gets hurt, he plugs one in. You know, so I mean, but in today's age, this is his best coaching that he's done, and then he's got an offensive coordinator and Tommy Reese that really I wasn't impressed with, even in Notre Dame.
That's right.
I wasn't impressed with, but what they did in the bye week, I have no clue. But he the offense has been rolling and putting up points, and the O line has been playing a lot better.
Let me give a shout out real quick.
Need to do if they can beat Georgia.
Let me give a shout out real quick to Rich Loring. He's in the house. He's an old Duck fan of mine, a friend of mine that we used to haul around. I don't know if you know Rich Loring from the Facebook groups and whatnot. He was an administrator in one of our groups, the National F-bomb once upon a time. We were just talking about the Ducks. We had a few Ducks up in here earlier, and I think they then left. But we was talking about the Ducks earlier, Rich, and the fact that I don't know if Ryan agreed with me or not, but I think that Oregon, just like Joe Klatt said, I think Oregon should be in the top 4 over Florida State if it comes down to them and Florida State, even though Florida State's undefeated. Florida State hasn't looked good, and they don't have Jordan Travis going forward. So to me, the 4 best teams at that point, Oregon would be one of the 4 best teams, in my opinion, not Florida State.
Only if they beat Washington, which I think they are.
Yeah, I think they will beat Washington too. Looks like you got your fan in here already. She probably heard you talking about the size of your crawfish. I like this LSU guy. He's cool, says Mary Caroline. You got your fan already, brother?
Yeah. I remember Mary from Facebook.
Oh, yeah?
Isn't she a Clemson fan?
I don't know if that's the same Mary. I think that's a different one.
Oh, okay.
I think
Mary.
I think she's a Sooner Mutt.
Okay.
They don't like me calling that, by the way. So I better stop.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mary. I didn't mean to offend. But thank you for the compliment.
College football with Donkey Lewis says, can agree Mark Vigil recruiting is a part of being a college coach. He is clearly one of the best, if not the best recruiters, plus managing egos can't be easy. I'm not sure who y'all are talking about, but I have to catch up. I guess it says Saban doesn't win Coach of the Year because of his recruiting classes, in my opinion, because it's hard to coach a team with 5 stars. Well, Mark, here's the thing. You know, there's been other coaches win Coach of the Year that have had 5-star players, just like Nick Saban. I mean, Ryan Day, Urban Meyer, who else, Ryan? Ain't there been numerous coaches that won Coach of the Year that had 5-star players at their disposal too?
Right. But Alabama has gotten more 5 stars than any other school in the last 15, 20 years underneath Saban.
Wouldn't that fall under a part of coaching is recruiting?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
great coach and a recruiter, so maybe he should have won the award more than 2 or 3 times.
Right. But he's equally as great of a coach as he is a recruiter, but because of his success, they overlook it for the ones that have done more with less. In other words.
What am I wrong for, Killer Breeze? I'm wrong for that. What'd I do? What'd I do now? What'd I do, Ryan? I'm always getting in trouble.
I had seen that in the comments, so I was like, oh.
I guess he's talking about the size. Me talking about the size of your crawfish.
Hey, look, it ain't the size of the crawfish. It's how you set the head.
That's right. Woo! That's a good one right there. Ah, damn! I gotta remember that, boy.
But
I'm gonna have to remember that shit for real. I'm gonna use that in some smack talk, no doubt. Johnny Johns says Nick Saban is the Johnny Johns says Nick Saban is the reason why Alabama has 5-star and 4-star players. He even told Alabama that they're not getting the best coach, they're getting the best recruiter in the country. He did tell them that, but he also knows how to run an organization as a whole. And some coaches just ain't cut out for that. Like Lincoln Riley, for example, he best offensive coordinator you could probably find, but he cannot coach an entire football team. He cannot run an entire organization. People talk about going to the NFL. The NFL hires him as a head coach, they're going to regret it. Now, if they could hire him as an offensive coordinator, he'd probably be fine, man. What do you think?
Well, you're right. CEOs or at a premium in college football and in the NFL. The only thing with Lincoln Riley, if he goes to the NFL, as long as he doesn't have as long as he doesn't have to buy the groceries, more or less, he can just prepare the meal. He'll be okay, so
Yeah.
to speak.
College football with Jonathan Lewis sort of agrees with you on that. He says Nick Saban is the best CEO style coach out there.
Right. And Brian Kelly is another one that I feel that fits that mold. They're few and far between.
And he can dance.
Yeah, he's got a little move to him. I mean, he's got a
Disco Inferno,
little
man.
accent.
He looks like that wrestler Disco Inferno in there, man, doing that shit. Actually, Disco Inferno had some better moves. The Disco Inferno was the man.
I think he was doing something like this. I think he was trying to bring disco back.
I don't know. Man, it looked like he's having a bowel movement to me. I ain't know what he's trying to do out there.
Well, that pedestal that he was on, with the player was very small. I want to say because it's really made for one person, and then it rotates, and then there's a camera that rotates the opposite direction. So I mean, it makes it look a little cheesy and goofy looking. But like I said earlier, if he brings in the players and they win a championship, he can dance on a pole. I don't care.
That's right. He could be out there like Les Miles eating grass and shit, right?
It don't matter. He can be. Look. We had Les Miles eating grass. We had Shrimp Boat Captain Cocho, okay, chasing all the blondes in Baton Rouge.
Hell yeah.
And they both won national championships after Saban. Okay, I gotta emphasize after Saban. Saban needs the foundation.
Yeah, people don't realize LSU has the second most national titles this century, behind Alabama. But they say the SEC's top heavy. That's a damn lie. All them other conferences are deflecting, and they actually need to look in the mirror. Big Ten's top heavy. Pac-12 is sort of top heavy, But this year, actually, Pac-12 was pretty varied. But the SEC's had 6 different teams win the national title since the advent of the BCS in 1998. 6. No other conference can even come close to that. That's not top heavy at all.
That's a lot of parity, and you got to think about something. How many kids from the West Coast and throughout the country comes and plays in the SEC?
A lot.
Lincoln Riley didn't even want none of that smoke.
And I do Uber on the side, and I go around campus picking people up, and there's people from California, Connecticut, everywhere, and they say they come down here because of the championship atmosphere. You wouldn't think that football could recruit for you educationally, but it can.
It does. If you have a strong athletic program, your enrollment is going to skyrocket.
Oh, yeah. Kilbree's trying to make me have a coronary over here. He says, do you think Contime will be a good CEO-style coach when he takes over at Alabama?
He's going to have to be if he does.
If that happens, I done told him, man, I'm going in the fan transfer portal. My ass is either going to LSU or Oklahoma, man. I haven't decided yet. I'll get me some hats and put them on a damn table or something if that happens, and I'll make my choice.
Yeah. You can put your hats on the table. Hey, y'all really kind of halfway there anyway. So I mean, it's not like you're gonna be leaving the conference, and so you get that one transfer role, so you can transfer once. We're all sitting out.
That's right. Yeah, I think right now my leading candidates is LSU and Oklahoma. I know a lot of Alabama fans really don't like LSU people, and y'all take a bad rap as having some of the most rambunctious, irate fans. But from my experience, Tennessee has the worst fans. To me, Tennessee is awful.
I don't know. Look. I ain't gonna lie. From my experience in like one games, whenever in 2018, whenever we opened up the season to play Miami, that's some delusional fans right there. They want to be so bad, just like Texas. Texas was the same way in 2019. They had an LSU versus Texas Facebook group like a year before the season started. They wanted their game and they got us smoke. Now unfortunately we couldn't play in 2020, but they're gonna get some smoke whenever they come to the SEC.
Becca has thoughts, says if I enter the fan transfer portal, that I need to choose Oklahoma. I need to stay with the Crimson. The Crimson Nations, that is.
Hey, if the color fits, wear it, I guess.
I think I just want to be fed. I think I'm going to go to LSU based on the food alone. From what he's telling me, man, they got damn crawfish down there as big as lobsters.
Hey, now purple is just a couple of shades darker than crimson, yeah.
Yeah, that purple and yellow is pretty good.
Yeah.
Even though y'all call it gold, them helmets are yellow.
Yeah, it's yellow. It's yellow. The Saints are gold, so I mean, it is what it is. Now, back in the day, they had the old school gold, but Notre Dame kind of took that, so we just went with the yellow.
That yellow's sort of fits the whole corn dog narrative, right? With the mustard.
That's the mustard. That's the mustard for the corn dog.
They got the mustard for the corn dogs with them helmets,
Yep.
right?
Yep. All we need is some crimson for the ketchup to go with it. So there you go.
Rich Lawrence says it's all going to change next year. He hates to say it, but the Big Ten will be more top heavy. We all know with Washington and Oregon coming over there, your team, Oregon, might make it to where it's a little more varied, like the SEC. You got Oregon and Washington in the Big Ten as well as USC and UCLA. I think USC's problem, I'm not saying it's to troll, USC's problem to me is Lincoln Riley. As soon as they get rid of Lincoln Riley, they can go out and hire somebody. It's just like with Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. You hire these coaches in with these big-ass contracts and give them guaranteed money, and they don't have anything to really work for at that point, right? I mean, Jimbo's getting paid, they said, what was it, $26,000 a week?
Yeah. I mean, most Americans don't make that in a whole year.
Yeah, $26,000 a week, not to do shit. So, I would probably go for fire too. I'd take me a cruise to Thailand and get a freak nasty or something, man.
You could come back with more than just a corn dog.
You're right. I'm gonna have some real skin up stuff. Might end up getting divorced too. My wife hears me talking this kind of shit.
Man. That's why I stay single.
College football with Donkey Lewis says, just make sure to send child size shirts so you fit in. What are you, 4'3"? He's making fun of my height, man. What y'all emasculating the hell out of me tonight.
Well, look, JVC, it's not hard. It's not hard. Just like you, it's not hard.
Actually, to be precise, I'm more around 5'9", 5'9.5", almost 5'10". And Jonathan Lewis is 6'8", so he's abnormally tall, and he just don't realize it. But he's sort of special, and so we just got to look out for him a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have my second oldest brother is 6'8". He played basketball at UL in Lafayette. So yeah, I'm 5'10", so I get I can see where the height difference is.
All right, Rich Lauren has a question for us. He wants to know who you think is going to win the Heisman.
Well, I gotta go with my boy DD5. I mean, hey, if you look at the numbers side by side and not taking nothing away from Bo Nix or Michael Penix or anybody else that's in the conversation, but those three in particular quarterbacks, JD5 has almost all the numbers except completion, and they just two other things categories that he's not first in. His efficiency, you had pulled up Dillon Gabriel's efficiency over Caleb Williams earlier, and Dayton has a 208 efficiency, which is better than what Burrow had in 2019. He so with he's got over 3,800 yards passing. He's got 4 interceptions. He's got almost 1,100 or right at 1,100 yards rushing. So you add that together, and he's accounted for. He's got 40 touchdowns passing, along with 10 rushing. Well, that's 50. That's 50 touchdowns accounted for right there. I mean, I don't see how they can't give it to him. He's at least a close second to Bo, without a doubt. But if you could pass 4 or 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, you're gonna have a higher completion percentage.
Well, if he hadn't started so shaky at the beginning of the year, and I ain't saying this because he's on my team, but the announcers were pushing him the other day in the SEC network and on CBS. They were talking about Jalen Milroe as a possible Heisman candidate, maybe at least getting an invite because of the stuff he's done here at the tail end of the year. Jonathan Lewis, who's in here right now, I thought that was pretty laughable. But here lately, he's been getting somewhat of a push from the national media to maybe at least give Jalen Milroe an invite for how he's overcome a lot of adversity. You know, he got benched, and then he come back after getting benched, and he's put on quite a show.
Yeah, but it took the coaching staff to open up that offense for him and let him do what he's capable of doing. And Rich had brought up you can't lose three games. Rich, how did Bo Nix lose that game against Washington? Did Bo Nix lose that game?
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing. Rich says that, and Jonathan Lewis also says they won't give it to Daniels because of the record. They are stupid for that reason on that account. And that is a dumbass reason, but let me tell you something. Tim Tebow, the year he won the Heisman Trophy, he had 3 losses. Actually, I think he might have had 4, but he had 3 or 4 losses.
He had 4.
So it can be done. It's happened before, numerous times throughout history. Barry Sanders at Oklahoma State, even further back, had 3 or 4 losses at Oklahoma State when he won it. Bo Jackson had 3 losses when he won
it. If you look more recently, RG3 had 3 losses.
There you go.
Lamar Jackson had 3 losses.
There you go.
And ironically, in the season that Lamar won the Heisman, LSU played Louisville in a bowl game, and LSU beat Lamar and Louisville 29-9.
So see, I brought the old school history, and you bring the current history. You can absolutely win it with 3 losses. And overall, throughout the season, as a whole picture, Jaden Daniels probably has the complete picture. All I was saying was whether Jonathan Lewis wants to admit. Now, Jonathan tries too hard to put on this persona that he's unbiased when, really, if it's your team and you need to actually take up for them, you need to take up for them instead of trying to put that unbiased persona out there all the time. All I'm saying is he deserves an invite. He deserves an invite to New York. That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying he deserves to win it. I'm just saying he needs to be there to witness your boy, Jaden Daniels, win it with 3 losses.
Hey, I mean, I had nothing wrong with any of the other quarterbacks But whenever you compare the numbers don't lie.
Did Mary Caleb Williams pick out which NFL team he's going to have partial ownership from? Yeah. Yeah. No other player in the history of the NFL has had part ownership except one. That's Warwick Dunn. And Arthur Blank give him part ownership because of his work with the community, with domestic violence victims and whatnot. And I don't think that Mary Caleb Williams has shown any kind of great personality in that regard yet. So for him to even say that, man, it just I don't know what him and his father are thinking, man. He's setting them up for failure, man. He's going to get in the league. He's already losing his mind over losing the game. He's over there convulsing and having a seizure in his mother's lap. I mean, it wasn't just a cry, man. That was like full meltdown. He's going to get in the NFL, and he's going to be just like Vince Young, man. He's going to lose his damn noodle, and he's going to be out of the NFL within 3 years.
He's immature. Like you can put him out there with the likes of like Jamarcus Russell. Like, he's immature. I mean, Jamarcus Russell didn't do what he did, but at the same time, like you said, he's immature. He's not gonna make it 3 or 4 years if he's got that type of attitude.
Yeah, he said Tebow had 4 losses. Johnny Manziel had 3 losses. Mary Caleb Williams had 3 losses too, even more recent. I mean, he only had 2 losses at the time when he won it.
Right.
And they shit the bed against Tulane.
Bad.
Second place Cotton Bowl. Last place Cotton Bowl.
Hey, look. They had rainbow Skittles all over that field.
Now Greenway put the pop on their ass. If they're not careful, they're going to end up getting invited to the Los Angeles Bowl and losing the backyard of UNLV from the projections I'm seeing. They might play UNLV.
Could you imagine? That's embarrassing.
I mean, if you want to top losing to Tulane, lose to UNLV in Los Angeles.
With the UNLV team coming off of, what was it, 1 win last year?
Yeah. But you can't turn around a team with 1 loss. That's what Con Time said. You know, everybody's taking up for Con Time, Deion Sanders. Well, he won 4 games. Anybody can top a 1-12 season. Anybody can come in and win 3 or 4 games, Con Time. I mean, look what Arizona's head coach done. Jed Fish. I mean, Arizona had only 2 or 3 wins last year, and they're 8-3. Maybe 9-3 now. I think they're 9-3.
I tell you what, Jed's gonna get some calls if he hasn't already.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, all right, brother. I guess I'm fixing to get up out of here. It was good having you on the show tonight. I'm going to cut a little short.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah. Is there anything you want to plug or say before we get out of here?
Just keep on, and to all the other fans out there, KSCMA, and you can.
Before you go, who's going to be in your top 4? Who you think makes it next week? Who's going to be there?
All right. Put a gun to my head. Is that where we're on? Put a gun to my head and tell me, for me to tell you who I think. Honestly, I think it's gonna be pretty much chalk, except Oregon's gonna get in over Washington. I had that feeling.
Actually, technically, that's chalk because Oregon's favored.
Right.
So you think the only undefeated team that goes down this week will be Washington?
Pretty much. So I'd be surprised if Washington pulls it out. If they do, it's going to be another close game like it was
do you think they
during the regular season.
Do you think they move Oregon up to number 3 and put Florida State at number 4? That way Georgia gets the easier game as a 1 seed, because to me, Florida State would be a better game for the 1 seed because Florida State's the worst team in the top 4 at that point.
Technically, yeah.
Now, I would like to see Georgia and Oregon match up because Oregon sort of owes them for that 49-3 ass whipping they gave them last year.
Yeah, they do. They do. They do. I wouldn't. You know what? I wouldn't. I would be mad if Texas squeaks in there. If these don't go chalk and Texas squeaks in there, I would not be mad.
Yeah, I think if Alabama beats Georgia and it comes down to Alabama, Georgia, or Texas, Texas deserves to be in because at that point Alabama beat Georgia, like we discussed earlier.
Right.
And Texas beat Alabama, the team that just beat Georgia. So Texas would definitely deserve to be in.
Right. I'm just saying if some things go haywire and you know whether or not Alabama beats Georgia or not, I wouldn't be mad if Texas squeaks in there. But it's looking like Texas is the odd man out.
I think Will Brogdon thinks that you're Killer Breeze. That's not Killer Breeze. He's a coon ass like Killer Breeze, but that's not Killer Breeze. That's Ryan Thibodeau.
Yeah, Ryan. Actually, I know I tried to correct you on this before, but the H is silent. Unlike Coach Thibodeau, Tom Thibodeau from the NBA.
Yeah, I sort of knew I was just aggravating you a little bit. I was waiting for you. I remember you got on to me before. I was just waiting for you to say something.
I mean, hey, it's your show. You know, I could have let it slide. You know, but
you didn't let it slide. You got
at the end. We're at the end of the show. You know, we can go over this a little bit.
You put me in that DDP, man. You made me feel the bang.
Well, hey. We're about the same size, so you know, I think it will give each other a run for our money.
I ain't gonna be fighting. We're gonna be like the Road Warriors, man. We're gonna be tag team champions.
Yeah. Let's tag team.
Oh, what a rush!
Can you feel?
All right, brother. It's good seeing you.
All right, good seeing you too. Thank you for having me. Peace to everybody, and go Tigers.
All right, brother. Take care. That was Ryan Thibodeau. Not Thibodeau, Thibodeau. At least I didn't say Thibodex. A lot of people call him Thibodex. You know, people don't understand the Cajun language down there. They spell go with 5 letters. So he's off here now. I can aggravate him a little bit. I see him in queue down there, so I'm going to take some important shots and can't do nothing about it. Next time, get Amy on here. Give me a thumbs up. You want to get some Amy on here next time? There you go. Thumbs up. Amy's going to be on next time. That's right. Thibodeau, like a Bigelow, like the water boy. A Bigelow Thibodeau. Is it just me or does, and I know this is probably overplayed, but didn't Ed Orgeron sort of sound like a former friend on the water boy? I know that's overplayed. A lot of people already probably said that, man, but he sounds just like that guy. That's all I got today for you boys and girls out there. Y'all got any other comments y'all want me to address before I get off here? I'll wait a few seconds to see. Jimmy Johns, who we're going to have back on here soon. Jimmy Johns, the sandwich, I call him. Hey, I mispronounced your name just like I did Thibodeau. I keep calling you Jimmy Johns, man. And they really ain't got good sandwiches, you know. I like Subway. A lot of people out here in Tuscaloosa like Jimmy Johns, but I like Subway better. Firehouse is pretty good too. Jimmy John's is a distant third. But Johnny John says Alabama, Texas, Michigan, and Oregon. That would be pretty epic. In that scenario, I guess Michigan would be the 1 seed, and Texas would be the 2 seed maybe, and Alabama would be the 3 seed, and Oregon would be the 4 seed. Maybe Michigan, Oregon, Alabama, Texas, and a rematch in the first round. What do you think? I don't know where you're going with that, Rich. What are you talking about? Orange raised eyebrow. What you talking about, Rich? Rich out there smoking that good stuff tonight. The Rich likes some blunts. Farmer Fran is better than Coach O. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. Farmer Fran, you can actually understand Eddie Ogre a little bit better than Farmer Fran, I think. I'll give Eddie Ogre that. Mike's subs are better than both of them put together. I disagree. I'm the fifth Johnny Johns in my family. Well, damn. So I think y'all need to get a little more original. I mean, it's bad enough that y'all's first and last name sound alike. I was messing with you, brother. We'll have to have you back on here sometimes. This time, make sure you put your earbud in both ears so you ain't got it scruffing up against your hairy ass chest. All right, y'all got anything else? Any topics y'all want me to touch on before I get out of here? Is anything else y'all want me to touch on in the following weeks? When do y'all want me to do another podcast? When y'all want me to do another live stream, maybe Sunday, maybe Saturday. Might do a late night Saturday night like I've been doing. Okay. So you got the double J's all lined up, man. I guess you was a big Jeff Jarrett fan back in the day, in wrestling days, slap nuts. Y'all can tell I'm a big WWE fan. Yes. I know the WWE's fake. Okay. But so is Rocky, and so is Days of Thunder. It's entertainment, so shut the hell up and let us watch wrestling. Jack Acker says I should do one tomorrow. You want to be on the show, Jack? Just send me your email to maybe my Twitter. If you got Twitter, I'm on Twitter at OCF Productions. Hit me up in DMs on there. Send me your email, and I'll have you on the show. Or you can get on Facebook. I'm under Jesse Paul Clark, spelled Jesse without the I. Hit me up on there in Facebook Messenger if you want to do that, and send me your email, and we'll have you on here. We've never had an Oregon Duck on here yet. All right, brothers and sisters, if you don't mind, after this thing goes to podcast, we'll get out of here. If you don't mind, like, share, comment, and subscribe if you can, and share it out to your friends and whatnot. Try to get them to subscribe to the channel too as well. Subscriptions are paramount. Also, there'll be a little heart with a little money dollar sign at the bottom of this show after the show goes to podcast. You can make a one-time donation to the program. You can also make a donation right now if you want to. There's a little money dollar sign at the bottom of the circle around it. It'll highlight your comment, push to the top, and I can answer your question before I get out of here. TikTok to TikTok. Here we go. I emailed you from your YouTube email. Okay. I'll try to check that out then. Oregon live tomorrow. If I do a live tomorrow, Rich, it'll probably be after all the games have been played. I'd say probably around 9 or 10 tomorrow night. I do a late night Saturday night show sometimes. It's like Saturday Night Live back in the day kind of deal. Sort of nostalgic for me. All right. Doesn't seem like anybody has any more questions and doesn't want to highlight the comment to get a special donation into the show. Also, you'll see people here like Jack Acker, Big Cojones Kelly, among others. Fred Bagley was in here earlier, as well as right-wing Duck fan. They all have their badge. They're deputized. If you want to get your badge, you get deputized. $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. It's a little join button. There's a subscribe button. If you're on an Apple phone, you may have to go to your laptop or computer because it doesn't match with YouTube memberships. You get your badge, you get deputized, and you get that random Four Horsemen shout out, as well as possibly be the comment of the day. With that, I'm out of here. Like, share, comment, and subscribe one more time. Big Four. KMCA. All the other teams, classes now officially dismissed.